My dear brothers and sisters, one of the hardest lessons we learn in life is this: not everyone will understand your pain. Not everyone will feel what you feel. Not everyone will pause their busy life to offer you empathy, kindness, or validation. And that is not because you are weak. It is because this dunya was never meant to be a place of complete comfort. Many people are waiting for someone to say, I understand you. Waiting for someone to notice their struggle. Waiting for sympathy before they move forward. But while you are waiting, life continues. Time moves. Opportunities pass. And shaitan whispers, you can't move until someone supports you. Allah never told us to stop until people understand us. Allah told us to keep going with tawakkul, even when no one sees us. Look at the prophets, peace be upon them. They were not surrounded by constant empathy. Nuh, peace be upon him, preached for hundreds of years and was mocked. Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was thrown into a fire. Yusuf, peace be upon him, was betrayed, imprisoned, forgotten. Yet none of them paused their mission waiting for emotional validation from people. They moved forward because they knew Allah saw them. My dear brothers and sisters, when you stop expecting people to feel sorry for you, something powerful happens. You become emotionally independent. You stop bleeding in front of those who enjoy your wounds. You stop explaining your pain to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And instead, you take that pain and you turn it into purpose. Success does not begin when people clap for you. Success begins when you stand up, even when no one is clapping. Some of the strongest people you will ever meet are those who cried alone, prayed alone, struggled alone, but still showed up with dignity. They did not wait for empathy. They created strength. They built discipline. They worked in silence and let Allah write their story. Remember this: people may ignore your tears, but Allah records every one of them. Not a single sleepless night, not a single silent du'a, not a single moment of patience goes unnoticed. Stop asking people, why don't you understand me? Start asking yourself, how can I grow closer to Allah through this? When doors close, do not sit outside crying for sympathy. Knock on the door of Allah. When hearts turn cold, warm your heart with dhikr. When the world becomes harsh, soften your soul with sabr. Success is not always money. Sometimes success is waking up despite heartbreak. Sometimes success is staying halal when haram looks easier. Sometimes success is trusting Allah when nothing makes sense. And one day, not today, not tomorrow, but at the perfect time, Allah will show you why you had to walk alone, why you had to be misunderstood, why empathy was withheld. Because if everyone had supported you, you might have relied on them instead of relying on Allah. So stop waiting for empathy. Stand up, make du'a, work with sincerity, be patient, and let Allah turn your struggle into a success that no one can deny. People won't always understand your pain. Waiting for empathy can delay your growth. This world was never meant to fully comfort you. Allah's awareness is enough. In life, one of the most painful realizations a person comes to is the understanding that not everyone will feel what you feel. Not everyone will pause to understand the depth of your struggle, the nights you cried silently, or the battles you fought when no one was watching. Many people walk through life carrying wounds that are invisible, hoping that someone will notice, hoping that someone will say, I see you, I understand you. But very often that understanding never comes. And this is where many hearts break, not because the pain is too heavy, but because expectations were placed on people who were never meant to carry them. This dunya was not created to be a place where everyone understands everyone. It was created as a test. People are busy with their own struggles, their own fears, their own ambitions. Some are emotionally incapable of empathy, and others simply do not care. If you keep waiting for people to validate your pain before you move forward, you may remain stuck in the same place for years. Time does not stop while you wait for sympathy. Life moves on, opportunities pass, and the heart grows heavier with disappointment. Allah never promised us that people would understand us, but He promised that He understands every silent tear. He knows what is in your heart before you can even put it into words. When you realize this, something begins to change inside you. You stop running from person to person looking for emotional shelter, and you begin turning to the one who created your emotions in the first place. There is a deep strength that develops when you accept that human understanding is limited, but divine awareness is perfect. Many of the most righteous people were misunderstood. The prophets, peace be upon them, were mocked, rejected, and isolated. They were accused of lying, of being mad, of being failures. Yet they did not stop their mission waiting for people to feel sorry for them. They continued because they knew that their value did not come from people's approval. Their worth came from Allah. When you reflect on this, you realize that being misunderstood is not a sign of failure. Sometimes it is a sign that you are walking a path that requires patience and strength. When you expect empathy from everyone, you hand them power over your emotional state. Their silence begins to hurt you. Their lack of concern begins to drain you. But when you stop expecting people to feel your pain, you become emotionally free. You stop explaining yourself to those who have already decided not to listen. You stop bleeding in front of those who enjoy seeing you broken. Instead, you protect your heart and channel your energy into healing, growth, and purpose. Some of the strongest people are not those who received constant support, but those who learned to stand on their own when support disappeared. They learned to smile while carrying pain. They learned to pray when no one clapped for them. They learned to wake up and continue despite feeling empty inside. This does not mean they were heartless. It means they trusted Allah more than they trusted people. They understood that not every struggle is meant to be shared and not every tear is meant to be seen. There is also wisdom in unanswered empathy. If everyone had understood your pain, you might have relied on them instead of turning to Allah. If every hardship came with human comfort, you might never have discovered the sweetness of making du'a in the darkness of the night. Sometimes Allah removes people's compassion so that you learn to seek His mercy directly. And His mercy, unlike people's sympathy, never runs out. So when you find yourself alone, misunderstood, or unsupported, do not assume Allah has abandoned you. Perhaps He is strengthening you. Perhaps He is teaching you how to walk without leaning on others. Perhaps He is preparing you for a level of success that requires inner strength, emotional maturity, and unshakable faith. Stop waiting for people to understand your pain. Move forward with dignity, work with sincerity, be patient even when it hurts. Trust Allah even when the road feels lonely. One day, you will look back and realize that the lack of empathy you once cried over was the very thing that shaped your strength, deepened your faith, and brought you closer to the one who never needed an explanation to understand you. Turn pain into purpose, not complaints. Strength is built when you stop explaining yourself and start working with sabr, tawakkul, and silent effort. Pain has a strange way of shaping a person. It can either turn the heart bitter, or it can transform suffering into strength and direction. Many people spend years talking about their pain, repeating their wounds, and hoping that someone will finally acknowledge how much they have endured. But there comes a moment in life when a person realizes that explaining pain does not heal it, and complaining does not remove it. Growth begins when pain is no longer used as an excuse to stop, but as fuel to move forward. When you stop waiting for others to feel sorry for you, you reclaim your power. Sympathy can comfort the heart for a moment, but it cannot build your future. Empathy can make you feel understood, but it cannot do the work that only you can do. Success is not created by being pitied. It is created by discipline, patience, and consistent effort, even on days when motivation is gone. Those who wait for encouragement before taking action often remain stuck, while those who act despite the lack of support slowly rise. Many people mistake silence for insignificance. They think that because no one is cheering for them, their efforts do not matter. But some of the greatest transformations happen quietly. Seeds grow underground before they break through the soil. No one applauds that stage, yet without it, nothing would ever bloom. In the same way, your unseen struggles are not wasted. Every time you push yourself when no one is watching, you are building a strength that cannot be taken away from you. Life will not always be fair, and people will not always be kind. Some will dismiss your struggles, others will compare your pain to theirs, and some will tell you that you are overreacting. If you allow these reactions to define you, you will carry unnecessary weight in your heart. But when you learn to say, "I do not need everyone to understand me," you free yourself from emotional dependence. You begin to live with intention rather than expectation. Turning pain into purpose requires honesty with yourself. It means acknowledging that what hurt you was real, but also recognizing that staying in that pain forever will only harm you further. It means asking yourself what the hardship taught you rather than why it happened to you. Every difficulty carries a lesson, and every setback contains an opportunity for growth. The moment you start searching for wisdom instead of sympathy, your mindset begins to shift. There are people who rose from nothing, not because life was easy, but because they refused to let hardship define their limits. They learned skills when they were tired, they worked when they felt unappreciated. They kept going even when self-doubt whispered that it was pointless. Their success did not come from perfect conditions, it came from perseverance. They did not wait for the world to change before they changed themselves. Faith plays a powerful role in this transformation. When a person believes that Allah is watching, even when people are not, their efforts gain meaning. They no longer need constant praise because they know that sincerity is rewarded even if the reward is delayed. They learn to trust the process, to remain patient during the unseen stages of growth, and to believe that nothing done for the sake of Allah is ever lost. Success built on inner strength is different from success built on validation. Validation disappears when opinions change, but strength remains. When you rely on people's approval, you rise and fall with their words. But when you rely on Allah and your own effort, you develop stability. You learn to stand firm during criticism and humble during praise. This balance protects the heart from arrogance and despair. At some point, you stop telling your story to everyone. Not because it no longer matters, but because you have learned that not everyone deserves access to your vulnerability. You become selective with your energy. You invest it in growth, learning, prayer, and self-improvement. Slowly, the pain that once controlled you becomes a reminder of how far you have come. Creating success is not about proving people wrong. It is about honoring the strength Allah placed within you. It is about waking up each day and choosing effort over excuses, hope over bitterness, and faith over fear. When you stop waiting for empathy and start building your future, you discover that the very pain you thought would break you was actually preparing you for a life of purpose, resilience, and quiet success. True success comes from reliance on Allah. When support disappears, Allah draws you closer, shaping success that is rooted in faith, discipline, and sincerity. True success is often misunderstood. Many people believe success begins when doors open easily, when people support you, and when life finally makes sense. But in reality, success rooted in faith begins when everything feels uncertain and yet your heart still chooses to rely on Allah. There are moments when plans fail, people walk away, and the path ahead looks unclear. In those moments, reliance on Allah is not just a comforting idea. It becomes a lifeline that holds the heart steady when everything else feels unstable. When you rely on people for your strength, their presence determines your peace. If they stay, you feel confident. If they leave, you feel broken. This is why Allah teaches us to attach our hearts to Him, not to creation. People change, emotions change, circumstances change, but Allah remains constant. When a person truly understands this, they stop begging the world for reassurance and start finding peace and trust. This trust does not remove hardship, but it gives hardship meaning. There are times when you will work hard and see no immediate results. You will make du'a and feel like the answer is delayed. You will try to do the right thing and still face difficulty. In these moments, reliance on Allah protects you from despair. It reminds you that outcomes are not in your control, but effort and sincerity are. Your responsibility is to strive with honesty. Allah's responsibility is to decide the result. When you accept this, your heart becomes lighter, even while carrying heavy responsibilities. Many people give up too early because they think success means instant reward. But Allah often grows His servants slowly. Just as a tree with deep roots takes time to grow, a believer's strength is built through patience. Those roots are formed in moments of loneliness, confusion, and unanswered questions. When you continue to pray, continue to work, and continue to trust, despite not seeing immediate change, you are building a foundation that will not collapse when trials come. Reliance on Allah also changes how you view failure. Failure no longer feels like the end, it feels like redirection. What you thought was a closed door may have been protection. What you saw as a loss may have been a lesson shaping your character. When your heart trusts Allah, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And begin asking, what is Allah teaching me through this? This shift in perspective turns pain into wisdom and confusion into clarity over time. True success is not always visible to others. Sometimes it is waking up with faith despite disappointment. Sometimes it is choosing patience when anger feels easier. Sometimes it is staying honest when shortcuts tempt you. These victories may never trend, may never be praised, but they are heavy on the scale of Allah. A person who relies on Allah understands that being successful in His sight is far greater than being admired by people. There will be moments when you feel alone on your journey. Others may not see your effort, may not understand your choices, or may even doubt your intentions. If your heart is tied to Allah, these moments will not break you. You will remind yourself that Allah sees what others overlook. He sees the struggle behind your smile and the sincerity behind your actions. This awareness gives you the courage to continue, even when motivation fades. Reliance on Allah also teaches humility. When success finally arrives, you do not become arrogant because you know it was never purely your doing. And when success is delayed, you do not lose hope because you know Allah's timing is wiser than yours. This balance keeps the heart grounded. It protects you from pride in ease and despair in hardship. One day, you will look back at the moments you thought would destroy you and realize they were shaping you. You will see how relying on Allah carried you through what you could not carry alone. The loneliness taught you independence, the delays taught you patience, the struggles taught you sincerity, and the trust you placed in Allah taught you strength. This is the success that truly matters. Not the kind that fades with time, but the kind that builds a strong heart, a steady soul, and an unbreakable connection with Allah. When you rely on Him completely, you may walk alone at times, but you are never truly alone. And that certainty becomes the greatest success of all. May Allah grant us strength without arrogance, patience without despair, and success that brings us closer to Him, not further away. Ameen.